Hi guys, Coach Karen Mays here on a Wednesday to check in. And as I mentioned yesterday, you may or may not know, I started talking about taking ownership of change that you want in your life. And because honestly, I'm mentally preparing for a little talk, and it's little. This is something I could talk about kind of off the cuff, but I really want to put a little work into it because honestly, it's something I'm really leaning into in my own journey now. So taking ownership, taking personal responsibility for a journey. That does not mean deciding to do it alone. There's a big difference between taking personal responsibility and trying to do it all alone. Hi, Mike. How you doing? And I'm going to just go into when I started my journey 5 years ago. Here is what taking ownership looked like. And in the beginning, it was small decisions that ended up having a big impact down the line. And the first big one was to commit to never miss a check-in call with my coach. And because I knew that my tendency when things started to feel a little off track, or I was feeling a little discouraged, I was feeling a little overwhelmed and like I wasn't doing that great, my tendency would be to check out, isolate. And my experience would be, something where I was supposed to attend a meeting and go for support and weigh in and all this stuff. And I would just not go. And that would be the beginning of the end, typically. And I didn't want a beginning to the end of this journey. Even though I didn't really know what was in store, I had hopes of what might be possible, but I couldn't imagine. I was frankly incapable of imagining what ultimately I would be able to do, which was lose over 100 pounds. So committing to myself that I would never miss a coaching call regardless of how I felt like I was doing and where I was at mentally. That was a big, big decision. That probably the single biggest decision that has served me in this journey. Because those times when I was feeling discouraged and I was tempted to, decline the call, she ended up helping me turn it around, because I was in such a negative headspace that she listened to me and then encouraged me to look at what went right. What had gone right? What had I accomplished? And the wins. We're so wired to look at where we went wrong and what we did, what our cheated moments were, and things like this. And we don't believe in cheating, FYI. Because that assigns value. I don't really believe in assigning value. You made a choice, and that's part of ownership too. Is when we just look at things as choices and not parts of making us a good person or a bad person, or we stayed on or we went off. We made a personal choice, and owning that choice is an important part of it. But regardless, those times when I had been tempted to decline the call and isolate and just say, I'm just going to keep going and I'll check in with her next week, those were the most valuable coaching sessions, when I would come out of it feeling like, oh, I'm in a much better place than I thought. Look at all the things that went well. And so that was a very, very important thing that I did. And I decided to do that. Yes, I had the support. I had an amazing coach. But it was my decision to accept that support and to not dodge it when it felt uncomfortable. Setting a time, simple things, simple tactical things like setting a timer so I wouldn't forget to eat. Not a problem I typically have forgetting to eat, but still, little things like that. A little alarm on my phone, or I'd have a Fitbit at the time. I would set timers on my Fitbit so that I would have an awareness of where I was at. And then over time, I became so accustomed to eating at certain times of day that because my habits became a little bit more regular as far as when I would wake up and when I would go to bed, I didn't need the timer so much. So that took a little while, but something like that, something tactical like that can be part of taking ownership of a journey. And the foundational choice that I made that in taking ownership was that this time would be different. And that decision I just talked about, that's the foundational choice that I made. And then one of the secondary choices was to never miss a call with my coach. It was to get onto our private client group and look for people who had lost a lot of weight and were keeping it off, because I wanted proof over and over and over again that it was possible and that I could do it. Because if somebody else can do it, there's a chance for me. So all of those things, worked in my favor. We have such an amazing community. I reached out, I've made friends among them. And, someone doesn't have to have had a lot of weight to lose to help me. Certainly not. My coach had a 20-pound weight loss, and that was very significant to her. And so obviously she has helped me tremendously. But I really did seek out on more of a different level, just confirmation from people around, people in the community, that people like me could do it. And moms, people who had struggled long-term with weight, people who had felt broken when it came to food, that it was possible. And so those decisions, they were all part of taking ownership of my journey. And I'm really looking forward to sharing about that on our Healthy Hangout. We do a Healthy Hangout every Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern. And it's growing, and it's really awesome, and it's for clients primarily, but we do invite guests from time to time. So if that's something you would like to come listen in on, it'll be helpful for anyone. You don't have to be a client to get something out of it. So just reach out to me, leave a comment, or send me a personal message letting me know that you would like to be there. Or if there's someone who is entering your mind right now who needs to hear this, or who should be there on Sunday evening, share this video with them, or connect me with them, and we can make it happen. So think about something small you can take responsibility for today. What are you leaving up to circumstance and other people's commitment level and other people's availability that you can own and take responsibility for? I'll give you a really small example. Time management. And this is all comes down to something I was chatting about yesterday, which is the scarcity mindset that I've discovered has permeated my entire life, different areas of my life, the big areas of life. And time management has been one of them. I've struggled with it. And this morning, someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, can we go for a walk today?" Someone I've been wanting to get together with and catch up with. She was like, "I'd really love to go, earlier than we had talked about. Maybe would 9 a.m. work for you?" And I was tempted, because the old Karen who didn't take personal responsibility would have said, "Okay, I can shuffle this. I can miss that meeting. I can do this and that. If I can do my my exercises and my morning routine later, I can do that. I can do that." But I stopped, and I thought, and I texted her back and said, "No, I really can't meet before 10. And I arrived at 9:58 and we had a wonderful walk. And that was kind of a big moment. I mean, it was a small moment, but it was meaningful to me, because I know how I would have reacted, and I would have stressed myself out, and the stress would have had a knock-on effect on my day and how I was feeling, and raised my overall stress level, and maybe influenced some choices I made later in the day. And so that is just one small example of how I'm taking responsibility, how I'm taking ownership of my own journey through life, which has to do with food, time, money, all the biggies. So thank you for tuning in today. If there's somebody you think would love to hear this today, or who should be at our Healthy Hangout on Sunday, please share this with them or connect me with them some other way, because I just love to let people know that whatever change they're looking for is possible. Have a great day, everyone.